So, like you mentioned as well that just there are like 3 to 4 bureaucrats, working in some ministry in China that are reviewing the applications that are coming in, right? And just given the broad scope of these export controls, how does China realistically go about enforcing these new rules? Will they be doing it through surprise inspections or end product testing, or are they just relying on the companies to voluntarily disclose, why they'll be using these rare earths and what they'll be using it for? And what if like they identify a company that wasn't playing by these new rules, that maybe understated what they'll be using the rare earths for? What happens to the company then? Are they penalized? Are they put on a blacklist? Is the country that the company associated with also put on a blacklist? Like, what are the implications if somebody is caught not playing by these new rules?
Now, there are two parts to this. This I'll come to the second part first, which is related to the second export controls, because that is more about re-importing China's IP, re-importing China's material. Um, we are still yet to find out how exactly they're going to keep an eye on everyone that is trying to re-import China's material, because that's basically everyone at this
Hmm.
point. Um, but when it comes to China's IP, they've been doing that. They've been slowly getting a stranglehold of the entire supply chain for a really long time. This is not a sudden event. This has been happening from a really long time. 2 years ago, China first announced that they will put an export restriction on IP. Now, but what this means this time is that anyone, say for example, is using Chinese technology to separate or to manufacture rare earth permanent magnets. Now that requires upgradation, that requires maintenance, and that is where you need to go back to China to apply for a license if you need to upgrade your equipment, if you need to. Or a lot of companies are dependent on reagents from China. That comes into the picture. Now, coming to back to the first part of the problem, when this first happened in April, the restriction was on anyone who was trying to export from China. And what they've done is there are no more privately owned rare earth companies anymore. At the moment, everything is managed by these two big Chinese rare earth groups, which are ultimately reporting to the state, and they get and the state decides how much these two companies are going to produce rare earths and who they're going to sell it to, and these bigger companies then tell their subsidiaries how much they can produce and how much they cannot. So basically, it's a quota system in place. So anyone who's trying to sell rare earths has to come back to them to get material, and then they have to apply for a license. Yes, there is some liquidity in the spot market, and that's why uh, the prices in the spot market have been volatile since these export controls. But the spot market is also going to, I mean, whatever liquid material is there is also going to get exhausted in some time, right? Because yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not enough stockpile. So ultimately, what China has been doing is getting a stronghold of the entire supply chain from producing to consumption. So they have the visibility on who is producing and where is it going to.
But what really
Yeah.
happens, like if they find a company and that hasn't been playing by the rules, does that company get blacklisted from buying from any of the state-owned enterprises that are supplying rare earths?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's. I mean, at the moment, and if we try to talk in China, if we try to get information, when we talk to market participants, they're not allowed to talk.
Right. Okay.
And I mean, they've China has even issued a warning. Say, for example, a country or any company who's trying to stockpile material. So they're going to compare previous export volumes to current export volumes, and if they see a discrepancy, they're going to completely blacklist that company or that country. They've issued that warning.